Anyways, hi y'all, it's Damaris, and I'm back with a new YouTube video. I know it's been a long time. I've honestly been on a spiritual journey, and I've been trying to gain the courage to make this video. I always made an excuse. I was like, I want to get my hair done to make the video. I want to put on makeup to get the video. I want to get my makeup done. I want to look pretty in the video. And now I realize I don't. I just want to look like the natural me and be my natural self and just make the video and get it out the way. So I'm actually waiting for my flight. I have a night flight today, so whenever I go to the airport, I look crazy because I be sleeping in the airport. So yeah, if y'all see me in the airport, don't say hi because I'm gonna be really embarrassed. So if y'all see me anywhere else, I'ma always say hi. If y'all see me in the airport, don't even tell me because I'd be so embarrassed. I'd be like, damn, this person probably think I'm catfish. So if y'all see me in the airport, I always look crazy in the airport, so don't tell me. But let me not get off topic. I just keep, swiveling around the subject because I really don't want to make this video, but I'm done ignoring God's voice. When I'm inclined to do something, I cannot keep running from myself. I cannot keep running from His plan from me. I actually fear God. I'm a very God-fearing woman because I've walked two paths in life. Just how I know God is real, I know the devil is real as well. Satan is definitely real. And I'm not making this video to force religion on anyone. Honestly, I'm making this video to tell people how God saved my life and my testimony, because a lot of people write me every single day, right? And they tell me you're so strong, you're so strong, I admire you so much, but I be feeling weak because I bottle in so many things. And what's it called? I think real strength is being comfortable in your own weakness. Real strength is being comfortable with your vulnerability and helping others and inspiring others and using your past to guide people away from making the same mistakes as you, or help people that have been in similar shoes as you and still haven't really learned from experience. So basically, you never really know how many people you're helping with your story or how many people can relate to you. And people think they know me. They don't really know much about me because I do my best to try to see my best and happiest to the world and on social media, because I've been content creating for a really long time. I was one of the original content creators. So since I was 15 years old, I've been posting content on social media, and I did it at a time where it wasn't as frequent or it wasn't popular. So everyone used to look at me like I was crazy, why does this girl post everything on Facebook? Now everybody posting everything on Facebook, everybody posting everything on TikTok, everybody posting everything on Instagram. But when I was doing it, I was the biggest problem in the world. But that doesn't even matter. I'll get started and let you guys know how I even became a social media influencer. But anyways, yesterday I got my son baptized, and it was very refreshing. And a lot of people were confused, oh, you're religious, you believe in God. And truth is, I've always been religious. I always believed in God. I grew up in church from age 0 to 17 in a Pentecostal church at that. So Pentecostals are very spiritual. They're all about the Holy Spirit. So I was very spiritual. I used to dance for my church. I used to go to the church camps twice a year, the summer ones and the winter ones. I would just do everything in God's name. So it's actually kind of embarrassing how downhill my life went. And at the times where I had kept God in my life, I was at my best. And every time that I pushed Him away, I wish I would have written some things down because it's too much. But yeah, so every time I pushed Him away, bad things happened. And that's when the devil would attack me. But I've always known God always had a special plan for me. I just never knew what it was. But now I do. And my I don't care how people see me. People might see me like I'm crazy. They already think I'm crazy, so what can I really do? Keep being crazy. I'm gonna keep living my truth, because it's a lot of baggage, you know, holding all these things in and just swallowing everything and letting everyone make their own image of you and paint out the wrong impression when you're nothing how they claim you to be. So I don't want people to keep painting their own image of me. And if you think I'm crazy, so be it. God bless you. That's on you. This is not going to stop me from speaking. And if my story is too much to hear, imagine actually living it. But I've been saying I was going to make this video for a very long time, and I'm still holding myself back. But let's go. So yes, I moved from, this is the start of my journey. So I moved from the Bronx, New York to New Jersey when I was younger, and I went into school and I couldn't fit in. And I used to think, like, what is wrong with me? Why don't these people like me? And it was because the color of my skin. And I ended up realizing that as I grew older and I started seeing how everyone would react, because I was a minority at my school. I was one of the only Spanish people at my school, me and my two sisters, and everyone else was white. And the ones that, like, there was like 3 other mixed kids, but they would act like they were white. They wouldn't act like their race in order to fit in into that, like, little clique in society. My school was very cliquey. They were very controversial. They would always speak about positivity, but they were very negative. They were racist. Some of the teachers were racist, but I've always been a straight A student, so I would still go just to prove a point. But I did not, I very strongly disliked everyone in that school. I did not like that school at all. If y'all Google it, the news even came to my school the year I graduated. I graduated from Pascack Valley High School in 2015. So y'all could Google that. And yeah, racism. Google that. Pascack Valley High School racism. And they came twice, actually. They came even after I graduated again in 2018. So they used to have white supremacist groups. They used to wear shirts that said white pride worldwide. And the kids would literally get away with it. Like, the school did not care. The staff did not care. And they were just all bullies. And I had to show them, like, at first, when I first went there, I didn't want to get in trouble. Because honestly, I've always had a plan to graduate. I always loved school. Like, school was always my thing. School was always my way out. I had a crazy life at home. And then I had a crazy life in school, but I just wanted to get as far as possible. So I used to say, like, you know, college is the way out, because you get tuition, you get room, you get board. If you do good in school, you're gonna get free tuition, or you're gonna get a really big scholarship. So my goal was to get a big scholarship. So I've always been a straight A student, and I used to become friends with my teachers because it was so hard to find friends at that school. Mind you, I'm the only person, Facebook famous era was a Bronx thing. So I'm the only person from the Bronx in my school who's Facebook famous. Like, these people used to not post at all. They would just post with their friends. They would post on Facebook once in a month. I used to post 30,000 times a day on Facebook. So they all used to look at my Facebook and be like, what is wrong with this girl? But I would still post on Facebook, and that's how I started coming on Facebook and speaking my voice. Because when I moved to Jersey, I started adding everybody from the Bronx on Facebook. So I made my Facebook, and so I could catch up with everybody, I started adding everybody from the Bronx. So I started reuniting with my childhood friends, and yeah, I just started speaking my mind. I started spreading light into the world, because people, that's really how I blew up on Facebook. Because people used to say my voice is so annoying, what's wrong with me, why am I so nice, all this stuff. Because I deadass used to make videos just preaching, inspiring others, telling people be kind, just pulling kindness into the world. Because at that moment, people weren't so kind to me, and life wasn't so kind to me. So I always had a plan to just be a good person. And if you go on my Facebook, you will find videos of me speaking, and it's crazy because I look at myself now and I'm like, wow, I've always been like this all my life. Like, I look at videos of me in high school and I'm telling people, like, stay strong, And that's because I had to stay strong, because every day I had to walk into that school and it was a war zone for me in my head, but I had to, stay strong because I wanted to reach the other side. So then I started like doing things, and my mom was always a very Christian woman, so she thought I was the worst child in the world because I started smoking weed, but she didn't know at that time like what I was going through mentally, because I've always been the person to hide everything from everyone. So she would just think I was rebelling, I was smoking weed, but I was smoking weed to cope at that time. And then she was forcing me to go to all these therapies and do all these different programs, and I didn't want to do any of them programs, so I would just start running away. And if you look up my name, there's also me on the article in the news because I went missing. Because me and my mom, we stopped getting along, and that day I'll never forget, she kicked me out of her house. So then I had these friends from the Bronx, from my childhood, these two sisters. I'm not saying any names throughout this story, but these two sisters, and I would go hang out with them. And since I would stay at their house like while I was running away and stuff, they used to mistreat me in a way. They was always rude, but we used to be getting money together, so I didn't care. They introduced me how to start getting money at a young age, so I started getting money at 15 years old, 15, 16, around then. And they were Facebook famous as well, so us three, we used to run Facebook back then. But their mom didn't really care much what we did, so that's how I started even smoking with them. And I would still go to school though. I would go to their house, I would take the bus from the Bronx all the way to Jersey, still go to school, then take the bus back to the Bronx. But I just felt like more freedom in that household because my mom was always very, very strict. So yeah, so I started running away, and I started doing other things, hanging out with people that weren't of God. So clearly my mentality started to change, and I used to be like, this church thing is annoying, I've been doing it all my life, it's not real, God is not real. If God is so real, why am I suffering so much? Like, I just took that all out of my brain. I went to Miami at 17 years old, and I started walling out. Like, I just stopped talking to my parents, and I started living a very fast life. And it's crazy because the two sisters that I had told you guys about, I always feel like they did voodoo on me. Because this sounds crazy, but when you're spiritual and enlightened, God reveals everything crystal clear. So you will see all your downfalls, and you will see exactly what had led you up until that moment when you're like spiritually awakened in a way. So their grandma was like a witch or whatever, those people that they read palms and like tell you your future and reads tarot cards and stuff like that. So they already had access to voodoo, and they used to tell me, oh, let my grandma read your palms, let her read your palms, let her read your palms. And I used to be like, no, because in my head, I grew up in church, so I already knew what all of that was. And the worst part is, y'all, I still did it. I still fell for it. I still went down that hole. I still fell under that influence, and that's my biggest mistake. But that's why I love God so much, because when I betrayed him, and I knew right, and I still did wrong, and that's my problem. Like, I was always easily influenced, and the devil would easily attack me, but I knew God's way, and I still chose the other way. But I would still always hear God in my head. That's why I always used to think that I had anxiety, because I couldn't do nothing bad. Like, I'd always get knots in my stomach. I would always just have a guilty conscience all the time. And this whole time I realized that's not me. That was God in my head telling me, wake up, Damaris, what are you doing? This is not you. And I can tell y'all God is real. That man has done so much for me, and I can't even start to explain. So it comes from one thing to another, and at first I'm thinking, I'm just a strong person, but I'm not a strong person. I'm a very weak person because I've never wanted to tell this story, but God got me right now. One day after I went to church, one day after I baptized my son, telling my story. And this is something I've been holding in all my life. And I'm writing a book about it now. My book is actually from my ages 15 to 22. And I might talk, not to 22, from ages 15 to 24. I might talk a little bit about this year because this year has been like one of the greatest years of my life, blessing wise. I'm gonna edit this video, by the way, while I'm on a plane, so y'all gonna see this today. But this has been one of the biggest years of my life, blessing wise, and it's one of the years where God really started working through me and speaking to me, because I've always had a plan, right? I've always had a plan, but I didn't know what type of person I wanted to be or how to manifest my plan, because I prayed for this, literally. I had no voice for a very long time, and that's why I fell off of YouTube. I stopped making content on TikTok. I stopped posting on Instagram for a while because I had to, really find myself, and I had to pray to God to heal me from the inside and out, because my trauma is very real, and I was a very battered woman around this time last year, and I kept going viral on TikTok for my body because I had lost a lot of weight. I gained all my weight back plus more. I weigh 115 now, and I would have never been able to do that by myself because my trauma and my PTSD, there was days I couldn't get up from bed and I wasn't eating. My family still wasn't talking to me. I found the strength to start speaking to my mom again, start coming around her more. I've always talked to my grandma. She was always in my life, but my mom just resented me, and I found the strength to fix my relationship with her through God. And I used to pray to God, like I would never forget. I went 6 months without talking to my mom, and I told God, like, I miss my mom. I miss having a mom. And the next morning, my mom wrote me out of nowhere, like, I love you. How can I help you? I was like, yo, what? Like, God is scary, and he really works in mysterious ways. And I came back, and thank God my mom understood me, because my mom, she's a very strong woman, and she has a very strong testimony as well, but that's her own story to tell. But she has been through some things. I've seen some things that as a child. My parents got divorced when I was at a very young age, so I came from a broken family. But I do not blame my mom, because she did the best that she could in that moment. But anyway, so these people, the day I got they would always try to get me to get my palms read, and I wouldn't do it. I would just say no. So I left her. They used to like start arguments with me on Facebook and expose me and slander my name, so I had fell off with them, and I left to Miami, and I was living my best life in Miami my freshman year, because I had a full ride scholarship to Barry University. And I left to Miami, and I wasn't talking to them for 2 years, and I started living my best life. Like, I had so much friends, the most friends I ever had in my whole entire life, because when I moved to Miami was like a melting pot, so many different ethnicities. So for the first time in my life, I wasn't a minority, and I actually fit in somewhere in this world, because I felt like I couldn't fit in the Bronx, because when I moved to New Jersey, I was too educated, too smart, and I would always sound like a white girl. So I was too educated for the hood things, so I couldn't fit in the Bronx. And then I couldn't fit in New Jersey either, because I was the only Spanish person there. So when I went to Miami for the first time in my life, I actually started fitting in with everybody. And I had God. I used to pray to God. He used to get me through. I gained so much weight. I was the happiest person in my life. And all A's. I was doing so good in school. And I started school as biology, because my mom always wanted me to be a biology major. But then I switched without telling her to pre-law, because I always wanted to do pre-law. My mom wanted me to do pre-dentistry, and I hated it. But I still succeeded, and I still did good. But I switched to what I really wanted to do. So I switched to pre-law actually in 2017. And I'm going to talk a lot about 2017, because that was the worst years of my life. So for these 2 years, I have God in my life, and I'm flourishing. I'm doing the best I ever did. I have healthy friendships, and it's just cool. I'm just the most popular girl in school. I have friends in every grade, sophomores, freshmen, seniors. Like, I was just living my best life. I got my own apartment downtown Miami. Like, I was set. So then I get a message on Facebook, and it's from my ex-best friend, which was the older sister of the two sisters I was talking to you guys about. And she's like, oh, how are you? I see you live in Miami. I'm always going to Miami all the time. I miss you. And basically we started becoming friends again. So I became friends with them again, and I started, like, they're very mean people. They were never like me. And if, like, they're just mean, they treat their friends like they're better than everybody else. They just think they're better than everybody else. So, you know, you are who you surround yourself with. So I started going around them, and I started getting off track again. And then they used to tell me, like, oh, girl, because they only used to want to be around people with clout. So they used to tell me, like, oh, girl, the people, your friends are lame. Like, my friends from school are lame and stuff. But I still loved them. Half of my friends failed out after my freshman year, but the ones that I still did have left, I still loved them. But I guess since I chose them instead of my college friends, and they weren't in college, so I started going out of my way to please them. And I'll never forget, I had just finished my finals, and I was done for the end of my sophomore year, right? I was done for the end of my sophomore year. And I had flew to New York, and I was so excited to be in New York for the summer, because I would always spend the summer with my family since I was always in Miami during the school year. And it's hard. As a college student, you know that leaving off to school is hard, and leaving your hometown, leaving your friends. I was always so excited about coming back to New York. I would still go on my block, still link my cousins, still link my grandma, still see all my friends from out here, and most importantly, still see those two people I was talking about. So I linked them like a couple days after I came back, and I was at their house, and their grandma so happened to be there, and she asked me, do you want to get your palms read? And at this point, ever since I left to college, I never returned back to church. Like, after 2015, I never went back to church. So yesterday was my first time stepping in that church since 2015. But I went to her house, and her grandma was there, and I fell for it, and I was like, yeah, you could read my palms. So I gave her grandma $40, and she gave me a reading, and she started telling me all these crazy things were gonna happen to me, and I was like, what the heck? And then 2 days later, I'll never forget, June 7th, 2017, I'm at my mom's dentist's office, and I'm walking to Mama Sushi, because I always used to eat Mama Sushi all the time. Like, Mama Sushi was my favorite, because I used to help my mom out in the summer at her dentist's office. I used to go there every summer. Right now, I don't like going anymore because it just makes me feel uncomfortable. But because I know what happened to me on that block, that's where it all started. But I had, I'm not going to give too many details because most of my details are in my book. So I'm trying to be as fast and as swift as possible. But I walked to Mama Sushi, and right there, I met my rapist. And he kept following me, kept talking to me. So after a while, I had a business card in my hand, and I just gave him the business card, and I was like, I'm going to work, but if you want your teeth done, like, just call here, set up an appointment. And I left. So then 2 minutes as I walk into the dentist's office, he keeps calling, and I'm working at the front. So I'm like, yo, stop calling my mom's job for nothing. Like, and I just ended up giving him my number, and we ended up texting. He just was very pushy and asking me all these questions, and I would just, like, I would ignore him. Then he'll write me again. Then he's like, oh, I'm going to the boxing gym tomorrow. Do you want to come with your friends? Like, it'll be fun. And I kept saying no, but he was very persistent. So then he's like, okay. So basically he said, I'm gonna come pick you up. Then we were supposed to come pick up my friend in the Bronx, and when I got to the car, there was like 4 other men in the car, and my friend definitely didn't fit. So they're like, oh, I can't pick you up, my man's is here. It was 3 other men actually, and then him. So altogether it was 4. So he's like, my man's is here, and tell your friend meet us at the boxing gym. So I was like, okay. So then I'm texting my friend and telling her to come, And like, I'm at the boxing gym. I felt really uncomfortable. They took away my phone. They're like, oh, you can't have your phone here. So long story short, they ended up, I'm gonna get into more details in my book, but long story short, they ended up drugging me, raping me, extorting me, all four of them. Extorting me, exploiting me, beating on me, hitting on me. And then when they were all done, they just dropped me off in the middle of a park at 4 o'clock in the morning. And my friend was tracking she was tracking my location the whole time, because we were so close that we used to like share location and everything. And her ex-boyfriend came to the park and they got me. And the next morning I woke up blacked out in her house. I did not remember anything, but I was just crying. She said I was just crying for hours the night before, and I was like, why? And she wouldn't tell me much of what I said, and I don't really remember. So then I went to my aunt's house on 174th, and I was just crying there all day for 24 hours. And after a while, she's like, yo, let's go to the hospital. What's wrong? She already knew something happened to me. So my aunt and my cousin, they took me to the hospital. They did a rape kit on me. They confirmed the DNA. They confirmed the drugs in my system. I ended up being somewhere in Nassau, I don't know, Long Island, not the Bahamas. But yeah, I'm gonna get into more details after that. But after that changed my whole life. I started losing weight again. I started losing focus in school. I was very depressed. Everybody would be like, oh, she got so skinny, or everybody would be like, oh, she's lying. All my friends stopped being my friend from school. They was like, oh, that girl's lying. She just want to be famous, this, and that. And mind you, I never wanted that on the internet. When I told my friend what happened, she screenshot my text message. I was like, oh, I'm in the hospital, I just got raped. She screenshot my text message and posted it on Snapchat. Mind you, she was a public figure, so that thing went viral. So I was forced to tell my story without even wanting to, because everybody was writing me the next morning. They knew it was me because my name was at the top of the text message. And I had to, you know, jump in and tell my story, and I wasn't ready. And everyone just thought I was crazy because there were so many different inconsistencies in my story. But that's because I didn't want to say it. I was being forced to speak just because all my followers were being so nosy. So I really respect the people that stood in my life during that time period, and the followers that kept believing in me, kept loving me, kept supporting me, and kept pushing me, because you guys are a reason why I'm still here today. Because I know there's people out in this world that believe in me and support in me, and y'all the ones that keep giving me the motivation. Y'all and God and my family just gives me the strength to keep going. But everyone thought I was lying, and it was very embarrassing for me. So I started flunking in school. Like, I would go to school in 90-degree weather in hoodies, black sweatpants, because I didn't want anybody to see me, with shades. Like, I was so embarrassed. I would just go to school, do my shit, and get out. And then I started doing good in school again. I met this one girl. Her name was Patty, and she was really, really nice. She was my only friend in school. And me and her, we took that dirt together, because everybody would look at me and look at her, and they would talk shit about both of us, but we would still, you know, take it all and keep going. But I hope she's good today, to this day. Actually, I don't really talk to much people from Barry. Some girl named Maya, she was always there for me through everything. Maya and her boyfriend Jordan, like, I really appreciate them. They was there for me when the whole school turned on me. Who else? Basically, I was still popular, but everybody was talking about me, and everybody was saying I'm a liar and this and that, and they would watch my social media, and I just turned away from God, because I was like, God, if you love me so much, why did you let this happen to me? But that was the devil in my ear. The devil in my ear was trying, because, you know, the devil's a liar, and the devil was trying to tell me, like, oh, God doesn't love you, this why you went through this. But that's not why I went through that. God ain't put me through that. The devil put me through that. But God allowed that to happen to me so I could be here today, being able to tell this story. So everyone started bullying me once again on social media, and I'm thankful for the ones that are still here. Jimmy Smacks, Justin, I love you with all my heart. That man has been there for me since 2015, since I met him. He has never judged me. We're in 2023. That's 8 years. And he has helped me through a lot. One of the most humble people I have ever met. And I'm grateful for all the people that are still here, because along the way a lot of people snaked me. So I was at a point in my life where I was so angry at God, so I kept doing anything. I was going clubbing every day, not even every weekend, every day. I was drinking every single day. I was just so lost, but I was still doing good in school. I was just living a double life, honestly, but I was so broken inside, and it made me want to give up on school, because there was videos of me on the internet, and I was like, I don't want to keep going to school. Like, this is how everyone sees me. I'm in class and everyone has the video of me on their phone, and they all just be looking at me like I'm crazy. So it was actually very embarrassing for me, but I pushed through. I still did it, and that's why I acknowledge myself. God has always been with me. It's never been me. I acknowledge God because he has always given me the strength to not give up, even on the days that I really wanted to give up. Y'all, look, that's ring light. I'm about to turn this shit off. But even on the days that I really wanted to give up, he ain't. How the heck did this turn? Oh, I get distracted easily. I'm like Sydney. Alright, it's off. Sydney from SpongeBob. But even on the days that I did want to give up, he gave me the courage to keep going. Something in the back of my head always told me, Damaris, keep going. This is all for a greater purpose. And you know, everyone had a laugh at my downfall. And I regret in 2017 not seeking God in that moment, but instead I went against him. Had I seeked him in that moment, I would not have fell into the devil's hands, and I would not have fell victim to the streets, and I would not have went through more of the things I went through, because my story does not even end there. But if I would have seeked God in that moment, my life would have been so different now. But I didn't. I went against him, and I started living the worldly, crazy life, and I ended up, you know, in 2019 I was suicidal. But it was because of my hormones. I didn't even know I was pregnant. So the day where I was like done, I was like, I'm done with my life, was the day I found out I was pregnant with my son Cameron. And I named him after my best friend in school, Cameron. My best friend from my freshman year, Cameron. I always told him, if I have a son, I'm going to name him after you. That's how much he helped me through, like, Barry. But there's a lot. I'm so grateful for a lot of people. I've always been a grateful person, because a lot of people have did me wrong so many times. So I'm so quick to appreciate the people that have actually, you know, been there for me in life. But that's when I was like, okay, I need to change my life. So I transferred out of school from Miami, and I've always been Christian, so I don't believe in abortion. But I transferred out of school from Miami to New Jersey, and I started going to William Patterson in New Jersey up until the day I was 9 months pregnant, up until I gave birth. 2 days after I gave birth, I went right back to school. And I shouldn't have did that, because I was trying to be superwoman. I was trying to be a superhero, but I should have gave my body time to rest, because I've always been a depressed person. So when postpartum, that hits people that are already depressed. So postpartum depression came, and I wasn't taking care of myself. And once again, I start hanging out with the same group of bad influence people. I start changing. I start becoming a rude person. I start hanging out with these two mean girls again. And basically, I just start becoming someone that I'm not. So instead of being with my child as I should have, I would go to school and then I would go party. And I was very depressed, and no, I didn't know why. Like, there will be days where I'll just start crying and not feel enough with no reason to it. And that was postpartum depression just attacking me. And I wish I would have taken that seriously. And I wish I would have seen God in that moment as well. But I did not. I just kept going. I kept thinking I'm stronger and better than everyone else. So then coronavirus happened, and I started getting worried, like, oh my God, how am I going to be able to pay for college, like all this. And there was already videos of me plastered all over the internet, and people used to, you know, Photoshop the picture of me next to my son's face, and they was already like, and it wasn't me who exposed myself. They exposed me and exploited me because I didn't want to pay them, and I went to the cops. So they basically posted that video as revenge, and they damaged my image with my family, my reputation in church. Like, they damaged my reputation basically for the moment, because they ruined my courage, they destroyed my courage. And when I had my son, they used to put that picture and that video of me next to my son. So I wanted to kind of expose myself in my own way, because I was tired of people exposing me. So ever since I made my OnlyFans, nobody ever exposed me again, because I exposed myself. So what can y'all say now? Y'all kept saying it before, now I'm doing it. Now y'all can't say anything. But I kind of did it as a way, like, to make money during COVID, to keep paying for my school, and also to I just listened to the devil. I finished damaging my reputation, because I felt like at that point my reputation couldn't be saved. And I was so angry at God that I didn't care what he had planned for me. I was just gonna live life in my way, and God still loves me through everything and still forgave me through everything. And that's why I'm very grateful, because I've been through a lot. I've seen a lot. And I've endured a lot. And the trauma and PTSD that I have would have drove anybody crazy. And I'm very sane. I'm a very sane person. I'm a very kind person. I still put out positive messages into the world. I still do my best to be a great person despite everything that I've been through. And I feel like that just makes me a beautiful person, and the most strongest person that I know is me, because I never gave up. And no matter how many times I fall, I'ma always keep going. I'ma always keep going. I'ma always stay strong, and I'ma never let them people see me down. I'ma always come up on top. It does not matter how long it takes me, but I was God's child. I grew up in church. God chose me. I've been told I was chosen since I was a little girl. I kept running away from him. You cannot run away from God's voice. If he chose you, he chose you. And you'll end up realizing that eventually. And I'm glad I woke up at a young age. I woke up at 23 years old. I'm 25 now. And the last 2 years of my life, I've been giving myself to God. And I was able to heal my mental trauma with no therapy. And I'm telling you, the things I went through, they would have drove anybody crazy. And I did it with the power of God, with the power of prayer, seeking him. So anyways, after my postpartum depression, I was vulnerable. I was going through a vulnerable moment. I started making money. The biggest mistake I did was leave. I left to Miami. And my friend, once again, the same bad friend that every time I go around her, something bad happens to me, and it's not a coincidence. And that's why people always ask me, why aren't you friends with her anymore? Because that girl ruined my life, basically. Well, I ruined my life, but she never had good intentions for me. So I'll walk by myself if I have to, because every friend that I've ever had always crossed me. Not because I've been a bad friend, but because I've been too good of a friend. And that made people envy me, because some people just envy you because of the way others love you. And I've always been surrounded by so much positivity, so much love. I have a very strong team, and I have a strong family. I have strong supporters. I have a strong system, and I have God, who is the strongest. So people always envied that, and they would try to, break me down. But the same friend said, oh, I have a friend in Miami. He's a rapper now. You should talk to him, blah, blah. He be getting money, this, and that. He's friends with my boyfriend. Talk to him. So she introduced me to this man, and I didn't want him because I was still dealing with somebody else at the time. But the person I was dealing with at the time wouldn't claim me because of the 2017 video. My ex-boyfriend is the first person that knew everything about me and would still post me, would still claim me, and made me fall in love with him. So now we're in like 2018, I believe, going into 2019 or 2019. We're in 2019 going into 2020, actually. And I meet this man. He makes me fall in love with him. He's super nice to me. For 3 months, I ignored him. After 3 months, I finally said, you know what, I'm going to try to talk to him. And I ended up falling in love with him. The guy that I was dealing with, he disappeared. And I was like, where did this guy go? So I finally gave the new guy a chance, which was the biggest mistake of my life. And people were like, oh, why do you put yourself in a domestic violence situation? Nobody walks into, except for my ex-friend, but nobody walks into a domestic violence situation knowing that that person is abusive. I didn't know they love bomb you. You know, narcissistic men, they love bomb you. They make you fall in love with them. They study you. They study all your flaws. They study what you like to do. They buy you stuff. They do anything to get you into their corner. And once they get you to break your walls down, once you're so comfortable with them, once you're in love with them, once you're cooking for them, cleaning for them, loving on them every single night, doing everything for them, once y'all together, posting, once y'all all happy and y'all have that fake happy family, and you always, you know what's crazy, like, something my heart told me, this is too good to be true. Like, there's something wrong with this man. Once you do all that, once that person has you in your corner, they will break you down, and they just do that to get you to fall in love with them. Because if he would have showed me who he was the first day I met him without me having any feelings for him, I would have been like, yo, this man is crazy. What is wrong with him? Like, I would have never spoke to him again. Probably would have called the cops. I would have did this. But now you got me in love with you. I'm a woman of prayer. I'm praying for you. I'm thinking I can change you. And you're breaking me down. You're telling me, oh, you deserve to get beat on. Look at how you were in that video. You lied on that man. All this stuff. And you're breaking me down. But you fell in love with me. And you made me fall in love with you. And now I'm your biggest enemy. And I did not do anything. People would be like, oh, but what do you do to get beat? I did nothing. I wouldn't cheat. If he was beating me for nothing, imagine me cheating. Like, imagine, I'll probably be dead, actually, if I cheated. I would stay home every single day. He would steal my car. And I had no choice. He would fight me for my keys and leave me in my house. What else? He would beat on me, take my money so he could go support his drug habits. He would steal stuff from me to go support his drug habits, to go support his lean and perk addiction. He lived with me and would come home every single night, 4 a.m., 5 a.m., lie, say he was in the studio, and come home just beating on me, angry. Every time he was sober and didn't have access to lean or access to any money for lean, he would beat on me. Like, and I'm not talking about like I would just get smacked. Like, I'm talking about that man would beat the blood out of me. He would not stop. He always used to say, I'm not stopping until I see blood. That's his favorite line. I'm not stopping until I see cop lights or blood. So I'm living in my first apartment, and he's beating on me every single day for 9 months. And I didn't expose that man until 9 months later. I took that shit for 9 months. And you know, I thought, what if I expose him? He'll probably hate me and leave me alone. This could be the end of it. That made it worse. Like, after I exposed him on Instagram, I was really his enemy. He was really out to get me then. But he did so many things to me. He used to pick up females in my car, fuck them in my car. I have girls texting me, bragging me, saying, yeah, I was fucking under your stars. Like, that's disgusting. That's why I don't even like driving that car. And that's why I got a new car for new energy. Because the energy in that car is just... I still have it, but I only drive it if I have to go from point A to B. Because every time I get in that car, I start thinking. And I don't like that. But... yeah, by the time I realized what type of man that he was, it was way too late. And me trying to leave him would make me be on him even more, and be on me even more. And my money was running low. Like, I wasn't talking to my family because they stopped talking to me after I made a OnlyFans. So it was just me and God and him. But it was just us three. And I wasn't talking to God until like 6 months in, because I had gotten evicted from my first apartment because the cops was coming every single day, and I was just embarrassed, like, that I was causing a scene with my neighbors. So basically I chose to terminate the lease, but they were about to evict me anyway, so I just chose to terminate it so it won't be on my record. But then I had moved into my second apartment, and my second apartment, for the first time in my life, I have never lived next to two pastors. My apartment was 205, there was 204, right next door to me. Like, and that has never happened in my life. Right next door. I'm talking about my kitchen is here, there's a wall, and their kitchen is there. They could hear everything. And their door used to face, like, in a way, they put a Ring camera that would face my door just so they could watch me to make sure I was good. But they're the ones who actually reintroduced me to God, and they saved my life. And they would just pray for me every single day and tell me, like, you're special. God loves you. He has good, big plans for you. Like, we're here for you. Just try to do everything to leave, like, start your life over. Because they saw after a while, because I knocked on their door one day and I told them, like, I'm so sorry. Like, I know you guys probably don't sleep at night because this man used to beat me every single day. And they're like, don't be sorry. Like, we're on your side. We're praying for you. We're here for you. And that's when they reintroduced me to God. When I went and I apologized to them, because I used to have my head down when I used to walk into my building like this, because they would hear everything. I'm talking about them walls were thin as paper. So they said, we know everything. We see everything. We know everything. We know you're not at fault. We're praying for you. And I was like, oh, thank you. And they're like, I see you have a rug in the front of your house that says, God bless everyone that enters this home. And I was like, yes, I do. And he was like, you're religious? I said, I used to be. And they were like, well, God loves you. And I was like, thank you, but I doubt that. And he was like, oh, well, I'm a pastor and my wife is a pastor as well, and I would love for you to talk to her. And that's me. For the first time when I went to apologize to them, that's how I found out my neighbors were pastors. And I was like, what? Like, so I was like, that's crazy. I've never lived. And you know, that's when I started believing again. And at that moment, I felt like I was in such a dark hole that I couldn't get out of. Because my ex used to break into my house. I lived on the second floor, so he used to break in through the balcony. He used to wait for me by the mailbox. I'll be getting my mail, and he used to wait for me by the mailbox. And when he'll see me, he'll beat me up. He'll wait for me by my car. He would wait for days, wait for me on the stairs. He would just catch me. And if I didn't open the door for him, he would break it open. I remember he kicked me in the crib once, and I couldn't open the door. And it got to the point, I thank the Miramar police every single day as well, because they saved my life. It got to a point where they broke my door open once, because I wasn't opening for them and I wasn't cooperating for them. And to this day, I regret not cooperating, because I would have had a very big case, but I didn't want to harm anyone. So I'm just getting justice and, you know, God's way, because toxic people never change. Their victim just does. And along the way, he's gonna get caught. But what really made me the strength to leave, I'll tell that story in a few. But that man, he broke my nose. That's the only reason why I have a new nose now. I had to go get my nose done. I couldn't smile for 9 months. He broke my back. He stabbed me. I was a very bruised up person. I had bruises all over my neck, my arms. I used to strangle. I used to pass out when he would strangle me. He used to strangle me until I passed out. That's what I meant to say. He has beat a baby out of me. He got me pregnant, and he kept beating on me knowing I was pregnant. And fortunately, actually, because I wouldn't have wanted to be tied to anything with that man, to be honest. Knowing the type of person that he is, I don't trust him as a father to any of my children. But he beat a baby out of me. Like, he did a lot of, I had a miscarriage, so he did a lot of, you know, crazy things to me. And what had really made me leave, it was because I knew God still gave me a chance every single day. And one day he was arguing with me. He had just beat me really bad. I had 2 black eyes, and he told me, you know what, I'm sick of you, bitch. I just want to kill you. And I'm like, what? Yo, calm down. He's like, nah. And he used to have so many guns, and Dracos, small guns, big guns, all type of guns. And he was beating me with it, and then he shoved it down my throat, and he clicked it. I swear to God, he clicked it. He clicked it, and the gun jammed. You know, if that gun didn't jam, I would have been dead. 1 bullet down my throat, I would have been gone. It clicked in my mouth. When I heard it click, I just closed my eyes. I started seeing white. I thought that was my day off of earth. And I know he wishes he did it, because now I'm out here and I'm speaking, baby. But I saw white. And I saw my life end. And I saw my son. But God chose me. So I had, I said, this is my last chance. I gotta go. And the words he said was like, oh my God, I'm bugging out. I almost just killed you. God really loves me. And I'm like, what? God loves you? He's like, yeah. If I would have killed you, I would have been in jail for the rest of my life for a body for murder. And I'm about to be a famous rapper. He know I can't be in jail right now for no murder. And I was like, yo, this man doesn't even think what he just did to me is wrong. He's thinking about himself now. And that's when I was like, man, God loves me. He didn't do it because of me, not because of you, because of me. It's not my time to go. And the next morning, I woke up and I had, all my plays hit. So I had a bunch of unexpected money, and I packed up my bags and I got a new apartment and I started my life over. But there's no hole that you're so deep in that God won't pull you out of. And I'm telling you that. Because I felt like it was the end of my life, and that was just only the beginning. And here I am. I'm still alive today. I'm still here. I'm still able to tell my story. I have a voice. I still have my followers. I still have family. I still have supporters. I got my weight back. I got my mind back. I got my mentality back. I'm back in school. I'm back trying to start my life over. And this time I'm not going to slip up, because I already danced with the devil. And that's not the person that I am. That's not the person that I want to be. And, I stopped doing OnlyFans like a year ago. And I started changing myself from the inside out. And that's why I haven't been on social media, because I was on a spiritual journey with God, and I was working for him to mold me into the woman that he wants me to be. Because I already tried my way, and my way failed. I do not want my way. I just want God's way. And I know God's way, God's route, God's path is better than my path. And he never hated me. He never wanted to hurt me. I chose that. And he still picked me up. He still saved me. He still saw grace in me. He still helped me. And it was just me and God for a really long time. And, I regret not choosing his path. And I'm not going to keep ignoring him. I'm not going to keep ignoring the voice in my head. Keep hindering my own growth by blocking my truth. And I'm just going to speak now. I'm going to speak for what I believe in. I'm going to fight for what I believe in. I'm not going to let anybody go through the same things that I go through. And I'm just going to keep fighting to be the best version of me. I'm not going to keep ignoring the voice in my head, which tells me to be better. I will never go against that voice again in my life. And I know, I already saw my life in the future. One day I'm going to be a great lawyer, and I'm going to help a bunch of women. And a lot of people will know God through me. And I'm doing it his way now, honestly. It's not my way anymore. I don't want my way. And all my pain and my motivation, if I would have never went through that, it would have never motivated me to go to school, to keep pushing, to be a lawyer. Because want to know something? I'm not the only one. I'm not the first. I'm not the last. There's been millions of people that always write me telling me I inspire them, that they keep going because of me. And a lot of people, it made me realize that a lot of people go through domestic violence. I've been donating tons of money to different people, inspiring people, talking to people, inspiring people to leave. I'm not the only one, and nobody really cares about us. So I'm going to speak out to the women of domestic violence, to the women who have been sexually assaulted, to the women that have been through crazy things, to the women that have bigger stories than me. I'm going to keep speaking for them. I'm going to keep inspiring them and showing them that there is light at the end of the tunnel. And I have a lot of followers on Instagram, and I'm an influence. People do what I do. They like my body, they go get my body done. They go to my doctor. They like my nose, they go to my nose doctor. They like my boobs, they go to my boob doctor. I sold evil eye bracelets. I had over 1,000 people wearing it. That's why I'm leading the same followers. Females made OnlyFans because of me. Basically, I have an influence. That's why I'm leading the same followers that I led into destruction into the right path, because you're better than that. We're all better than that. And we can't give up on ourselves. And I gave up on myself, and that's my biggest mistake. And now I'm not giving up on myself. I know what I'm capable of. I know who I am, and can't nobody tell me otherwise, because I have God behind me. And these last 2 years, I've been making the most money in my whole entire life. And I've just been so humble, because it's like you lose it all, you never want to lose it all again. So now I have 10 times more, because when God blesses you, he blesses you with 10 times of what you lost. And this time, I ain't getting blessed by the devil. I'm getting blessed by God. So I ain't losing anything no more, because I know who the king is. I know who the creator is. And I know my purpose. And my pain basically has purpose, and it will not go in vain. And people are probably like, oh, I'm crazy. I'm crazy. No, I'm woke. I see things for what they are. I see things crystal clear. You know, and even after, like, I told the story. You could go look at that story, because I don't feel like telling that story over and over again. But you can go look. It's the story of me with blonde hair and pink hair, about how my ex-best friend of 5 years started having sexual relations with my ex-boyfriend. After I went through everything that I went through, she betrayed me and started laying with him. She wanted my whole entire life. And she was doing it to be petty, get under my skin. I don't know what she did it for. Clout. She wanted to be famous. I don't know what she did it for, but she did it. And he ended up ruining her life, because, you know, God said, do not touch my anointed. So it's like, she was doing voodoo on me too. My ex-best friend, she was doing voodoo on me, because I saw that shit in a dream. And 2 days after I saw it in a dream, I found out she was having sex with. But he ended up breaking my ex-best friend's back as well, her nose. He took all her money. He was living with her. He destroyed her house, took all her furniture out of her house, was beating her every single day for a year straight. Yeah, everything I went through, she went through a little more times 10. But she put herself into that situation. I went into my domestic violence relationship not knowing nothing about him, thinking he was a great person. And, you know, I was wrong. But you know what they say, what goes around comes around. And she got the around, because nothing happened to me because I caused it. It happened to me because the devil is a liar. But, you know, God is great. And, you know, also, when I left my domestic violence relationship after he shoved a gun down my throat, that's how I knew God is real too. The next day, he was banging on my door. And I wasn't there, so I wasn't answering. He was banging for like 2 hours. So my neighbors from downstairs, he stole their chair, like in the middle of the night, to jump onto my balcony and try to break in. And guess what? They woke up. They thought it was somebody, and they pulled a gun out on him. They didn't shoot, but they pulled a gun on him. And he had that same fear, that same 24 hours, the same fear that I had with a gun down my throat. My neighbor gave it to them. The neighbor from downstairs, because they thought it was a home invasion and robbery. And he had that same fear. So God is going to make sure. And it's not going to be me. It's going to be someone else along the road. But that's just between him, God, her, God. I just know God is really real. And he changed my life. And I can't wait to continue to tell my story. I can't wait to write my story, because there's so many hidden parts of my story, and I can't say it all in this video, because you guys see how long this video is. But I'm gonna edit this on the plane. I'm about to go to the airport. When I get to Miami, I'm gonna start vlogging more. My goal is to be more consistent, and I'm gonna be for the girlies. I ain't doing this for the men, so I don't care if men look at my thing like, yo, this girl's batshit crazy. I'm not. I'm just living my truth, speaking my truth, because I'm not gonna keep running from myself. And yeah, bye y'all. I love you guys so much. I'm so grateful for everyone that actually watched this video, and I'm grateful for everyone that supports me. And all I know is that one day I'm gonna be bigger. It's all big.